Possessive and controlling. I was having a discussion with somebody tonight and about possessive and controlling people, and that was kind of interesting. I think back when I was younger, um, about possessive, controlling type people that I was involved with, that I dated or whatever. And one I can think of right off the top of my head was Bill Standifer. He's no longer alive. He passed away several years ago. In actually in Pensacola, Florida, at his sister's house, and he I was working in the bar that we owned, and in Santa Monica, Harvell's on 4th Street, 1432 4th Street, Santa Monica, California. And this is a 42 stool bar, and we had a piano bar, dance floor. It was really neat. Across from Hinchy's department store, right on the downtown Santa Monica Mall. And I never thought much about it, but one one of the times I was bartending there, um, Bill was on the other side of the bar drinking, and he got up after I was talking to a gentleman customer, mostly older people there. They were like 50 plus, and he was way older than me. And I was under 21 at that time, but had fake ID. And portraying me as older, because I left home real young, so I needed that. um, and uh, life wasn't fun unless you could go out to the clubs. But working in the clubs, my plan was to be a bartender. I worked in fine dining restaurants and had learned that so incredibly well. But my big dream was to be a bartender in a liquor establishment. And I bartended a couple places before that and had some great people that taught me too, that I knew personally, that knew how to really bartend. And um, the thing is that uh, I was bartending this one particular time, and I always dressed my best. That's how you make your tips. And this was a local neighborhood type lounge, and so everybody dressed pretty casual. And so I was talking to a gentleman I just served a beverage to about the middle of the bar. And Bill always sat on the way far end of the bar. And he just, I guess, was watching me, and he decided he was going to get up and come behind the bar. And, a lot of times he did that, take readings off the register to see how sales were by the hour and things, you know, um, or go through some paperwork or something. And actually, uh, he I was talking to the gentleman for a few minutes. People, when they come to bars, the biggest attraction to the bar is the person behind the bartender. The second biggest attraction is the opposite sex. And so, or same sex, looking for a date, whatever, or somebody just to talk to. And so that's your attraction, and then your next attraction is entertainment. So, they can pour crappy drinks, but if the bartender looks great, guys stay there all day long. If the people that sit at the bar or come to the club are their style, they'll come there more often. But anyway, I was talking to this gentleman for a few minutes, and I wasn't like leaning over the bar talking to him or anything. I just was standing there and watching up and down the bar, because you always got to watch, and because somebody might need a beverage, and you've got to get them quick. You don't make them wait. You pay attention to your bar. So anyway, I was talking with this nice gentleman. I had probably 5 or 6 people at the bar at that time. And Bill got up and walked around the back of the bar. And then he came up and stood next to me and put his arm around me And he looked at the guy and he said, this one's mine. And I was like, and I didn't think much about it. I thought, well, that's cute, you know. You always think about having a guy that's gonna protect you and just love you more than the world and all that kind of stuff. But the problem is, there's a problem with that. Now, what that did was, it actually hurt that customer's feelings. He wasn't trying to pick up on me. We were just carrying conversation for a few minutes, not forever, just a few minutes. He was just trying to be friendly, getting a beverage, just wanted somebody to talk to. And, just like, how's your day and that kind of thing. I mean, he wasn't like, making lewd statements or anything. Business is business. You're there to make money for the roof there so that you can get paid. And, whether my boyfriend, owned it or, I just worked there or whatever, doesn't make a difference. It's all the same. So what that does is the customer is really offended. I didn't really think much about it. I thought it was a little strong. But it wasn't like the guy was grabbing on me or anything weird. But what it really does is it kills your tips. And then they're scared to talk to you the next time they come in. Or they'll only talk to you when he's not around. And Bill was 6 foot tall, eyes of blue, gray hair, charming gentleman, well dressed, Hager slacks, Florsheim shoes, dress shirt, long sleeve, one gold chain on his neck, one bracelet, 2 rings, real classy gentleman. And, wouldn't fight anybody or anything like that, not that kind of guy. Wasn't a weightlifter. He had cancer real bad, and his time was very, very limited. As a matter of fact, when I was first with him, he said he had like 6 months to live, which he actually went like 8 years. He had throat cancer, and he also had a plate in his head from a car wreck that was sinking that he really needed surgery for. And he's like, after my age, it's not good to have a knife on you on an operating table. You usually don't survive through it. But he actually went like eight more years. And he claimed that I was his sunshine, and that's what kept him alive. We used to break up, and get back together, and break up, and get back together. And that's a whole nother long story. But anyway, but I didn't realize how, important that was, especially for work, for making money. It just kills your tips. And 2, that can be very volatile, and it's really unnecessary. Unless a guy's being lewd or grabby or suggesting sex or something, all that kind of thing, then that might need to be, said. But otherwise, I think it's not very nice. I didn't realize, how important it was till years later. When I was with Silvio, now this is years later, and when I was with him, he's Cuban, and he used to, he always had keys to every house I lived in and everything. And he would come home, and he'd sneak in the house, or he'd be listening at the back door. As a matter of fact, I called 911 one night because I heard somebody's shoes on the back concrete of the back door. And I make you $100 bet it was him. And so, I think he spent most of his time listening at the doors before he even opened them. One day he came in, and gosh, it was like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and he said, "So, how was your day?" And I was like, "Oh, fine, how are you?" All lovey-dovey and everything. And He, and I was pregnant at that time too. He said, "So where you been today?" And I said, "Oh, I went. Um, I saw Diana or something." And he kind of looked funny and kind of cockeyed. And now this is a very fiery person. He's a very, very fiery, very. I would kind of describe him as kind of like a gangster, I guess. Um, uh, very interesting person. He passed away too. So, but um, anyway, he said, "Well, that's not the only place you've been today." And I was like, "Excuse me? Like, what are you talking about?" And he says, "That is not the only place you've been today." He's like, "Come here." Walked outside, went out. He walked over by my car. I had a little white convertible uh, car, and the top was down like 95% of the time. And we walked over to the garage, and he looked at the car, and he said, "The mileage on your car does not match your story." And I was like, "Are you really serious? Like you know, you're tracking my mileage, and you're telling me my mileage doesn't equal my story?" I said, "You need to know everywhere I went today." So then I had to backtrack and think of all the places I have gone and tell him. Because if not, he's going to be flaming perturbed and will probably hit me, which would happen on occasion. Rare, but it did. That's one of the big reasons I left California, because the relationship started getting very scary after I had my daughter. And so uh, that was really creepy for somebody to tell me, and I'm a grown person, you know, where you've been kind of thing, and that's not at all. Like you're not telling the truth, and actually go confront me with the mileage on my car. That was really spooky. So, I'm trying to think of any other times. Possessive. I had one boyfriend that followed me for years and years. I could live in Egypt, and the sucker would show up at the door. I don't care where I moved to, he would just appear. And this went on for years. Now, this guy never asked me to marry him or anything like that. Yes, I did live with him. I was really, really young. As a matter of fact, I was underage when I lived with him. And but I had left home at 15 and a half. I got fake ID in about a year, and I was, an adult as far as I was concerned. And so all I had to do was be careful not to deface my family name. You know what I mean? I didn't want anybody going to daddy about anything I was doing that was bad or illegal or anything. That would be really bad. Um, so uh, that was kind of interesting how this guy would appear, and it's, to me it appeared he was so in love with me. I don't know. I guess I was just a piece. I don't know. For many, many years, and that guy's still alive. Actually, barely alive. He's got a lot of health problems. But I've seen people um, that are very controlling and very possessive of their women. And, I'm going to tell you right off the top, I have another daughter named Heather that she called me one day down to Huntsville and told me she was having problems. I said, "Well, I'm on my way down from Jackson, Tennessee right now. I'll be there shortly." And she said, "Well, it's getting really bad with my boyfriend." And I was like, "Okay, don't worry, I'm headed that way." So I get I get down there early in the morning. Oh my gosh, it was probably 6 in the morning. And I called her, and she was in tears. And I had ran over to the house. They had an apartment together, her and this boy. And I think Heather was about 20 at that time. And the guy she was with was long haired, kind of greasy looking, like Shaggy, in that cartoon Shaggy. And he was real nice. She had told me um, on the phone, or when I got there, I think maybe she was in shorts, I don't know. And her leg, she had a big cut in the top of her leg between her knee and her waist. And I said, what is this? She said, well, he stabbed me. He had a little pocket knife, and he had stabbed her. Some story about they were sitting on the couch talking, and he turned around and stabbed her because he didn't like her answer or whatever. And this guy was super possessive. And Heather was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Um, and I mean, she could have so much better. And uh, they were living together, and it was just not good. Um, he just was entirely too possessive, and she was the moneymaker. And he had taken her car, and he would drive it sometimes, and he'd tear the car up. He drove it up over a median and just all kinds of stuff, and just like wiped out the side of the car and then the back to the point where it wasn't drivable. And it was a brand new car that she had, and it was just bad news. But the guy was so darn possessive, and I said, you really need to get away from this, because the next time he's going to stab you and kill you, you know, and or when you close your eyes, something bad's going to happen. I said, this guy's not worth it. Whatever's wrong with him mentally, or drugs or liquor, or whatever his problem seems to be, you're not safe. And life's just too short, and there's too many other wonderful men out in the sea there. So, anyway, we're doing like the 100-mile-an-hour pack it up and go. And she's like, how am I going to do it? I said, well, you got hefty bags. Party's on. And then I called somebody else on the phone to come over and help. They were there like quick lick. And so we had, like 4 people. And we were moving her out right then. Didn't need any furniture, just her stuff. And they had a little 1-bedroom apartment. So this guy's sitting on the couch, and he's like, you better not leave. You better not leave. And so now he's got a gun. And we are trying to move the stuff out. I'm scared to death he's going to shoot her or me. And, we were just about moved out. He said, I will kill you if you leave. Da da da. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? You're nothing but a puss. You are nothing but a puss and a low-life panty waist that's insecure. And then he says, well, I'm going to kill myself. And I kind of looked back and smiled. We got the last 3 hefty bags out of the house, and I mean, all of us were flaming through there. We had her emptied out of there so fast, it was beyond belief. And I mean, I had crap loaded in my car, and they had stuff in their car, and what a mess. And we left her car there, had to send a tow truck to go back and get it anyway. And we thought it would be totally dismantled when we come back to get it, but we had to bring the sheriffs over there just in case. So, oddly enough, he didn't blow his head off sitting on the couch. That was a big lie, a big scam, a big, fake him out deal. That's being possessive and controlling. And most people that are like that are super insecure. There's something really wrong with them. Um, it just, these people are not people you want to be long term with or anything like that. Um, when it comes to guns and knives and beating and multitudes of questions. Where you been? If you're looking at somebody else looking at you. I mean, these kind of guys will get you to dress down and trash yourself, you know, so that nobody else will look at you because they only want you and they don't want anybody else to touch you. And it's just, I mean, the reason they do that because they're insecure. They can't get anybody else. That's stupid to fall for that. Because real people that can stand on their own 2 feet are not going to be with somebody like that. That is scary. And you're not, a psychiatrist or psychologist that's educated in school to handle somebody like that. They need professional help. But they're not for you. So, you know, you always think when you're young, oh, I want a wonderful man that'll protect me and solve all my problems, that I'll never have a problem with anybody because they'll beat their butt or whatever. No, it doesn't really work out that way. um, Life can be very simple without all of that. Um, that's getting into a lot of negativities, and you don't need all that negativity and the drama. That's really not the kind of person you want to be with. Whether it's a guy, girl, or same sex, whatever you are, be very, very careful with things like that. It's wonderful to have someone that'll just love you till the day you die, no matter what you are, how you are, and it's just a charming individual. But it's not wonderful when they're possessive. But it can get very, very scary, like that day with Heather. I mean, this guy had a gun in his hand, and I was like, I told her, it was the last like 3 bags of stuff. I'm like, do you really need that stuff? Because I don't know if it's worth a life if this guy's really going to use this gun or not. And I mean, we were dodging through there. Um, but you know what? He didn't have the gazungas to even pull that trigger. You got me? It was all his show. Possessive and controlling. These are not people you want to be around. You do not. Not in a love relationship. And don't fall for it. Do not fall for that. Okay? Because, you're not going to have any friends. You're going to have more enemies than friends. And things like that can end up badly. Do that in a public place. Say you're out to dinner or you're dancing or whatever. And this person starts pulling that stuff on total strangers. I know a girl in Florida that has lazy eye. She was born with it. She used to have to wear a patch, an eye patch, all the time. And she had told, that's the story about how she used to get in trouble over that lazy eye all the time. She'd go out to clubs or whatever, and somebody would accuse her of staring or something, and that one eye did its own thing. And she got in a big beef at some bar, and they were accusing her of looking at the dude or girl or whatever or something. And she almost got her buns whipped over that. And that's really sad. People do crazy stuff. You know, you don't want this guy that pulls the gun or the knife and stabs you, or threats to shoot. You know, you don't want this guy out with you in public at a nice restaurant or something, and then he's picking a fight with a stranger because the guy's looking at you. He thinks he's looking at you. Or the guy come over and said something as he was walking by, when, you know, this other guy's coming back from the bathroom, and the guy might have said, you know, do you know where the bathroom is? You know, not everybody that comes walking up to you is asking you for a date, okay? But a jealous, possessive, controlling guy will think that. They'll go through your phone, they'll go through your computer, they'll go through your email, they'll talk to other people, they'll watch you without you knowing, like from your work or from their car, follow you, look through your things, look at your clothes, look at the dirty laundry, smell your clothes. I mean, these are scary, scary people, okay? You don't want to be with anything like that. It doesn't end up well. You know, my brother told me a story about a girl that he was married to at one point, and they were back and forth together, um, and they had, you know, a few kids together through the years. And, uh, like last year, she, called him, and she was across the states, and she was dating this guy, and she wasn't really that happy. And she says, you know, I sure miss you, and I've always loved you. And he's like, yeah, I'm the same. And he said she was just the neatest, nicest girl in the world. And she wanted to get away. And he said, look, I'll pay for it. I'll buy your ticket. I'll pay for everything. You know, if you want to come back, you know, you can come on back. So he sends her a bunch of money, tickets paid for and everything. She's going to leave this guy. And you know what happened? The guy killed her and then killed himself. This is just last year. So is it worth it? No. If you're going to be around sick people like that, get away from them, because don't be fooled like I was when I was younger, where I didn't think it was a big thing. But when it starts hurting your money at work, that hurts. You know, that really hurts. You know, when it starts affecting your friends and family, that hurts. When it starts affecting complete and total strangers in public, that's scary. And if it's going to take your life because that weasel is such a low-life mental mess and so insecure that they got to struggle to hold on to you, it's not worth it. Get away. I remember Silvio, after I had left California, I just talked to him on the phone all the time, and I missed him terrible. I really did. You know, it's always fun to be in love. And one of the nights I was talking to him, he said, you watch. I will be in the darkness watching you. And I was like, man, I'm a million miles away. Why is he saying stuff like that? That's just scary. So, you know, it was like creeping me out. So every time the night would fall, I always thought, you know, God, he could just appear, you know. And that was really scary. I mean, he never did that, but that's just scary to have to live with stuff like that. Um, I managed to get far enough away, and I didn't leave any return address or nothing. I'm real good at that. So, you know, I'm not into people finding me that I don't allow in my life. I will make it very difficult for you. And that's just me. That is just me. Um, you know, I like to move forward in life and stay positive and be surrounded by great people, and I like to make a new friend every day. I have always loved traveling and, you know, going to places where people do things differently, and There's different races and of people, and um, you know, I just I love learning new stuff, but I don't want a difficult or scary life. So I guess I'm kind of a lucky one where I didn't have, a bunch of boyfriends that were all possessive and controlling like that. I've had boyfriends that were all my boyfriends were so absolutely in love with me, but they didn't have to be possessive and controlling to be with. So, you know, um, just fair warning, if you're young or old, it just is not a good effect and can result in your death. And life is worth living. You live, love, laugh. That's what it's all about. If I die, I got so much to do. I got to find a way back. You know what I mean? So, um, be careful in who you're with. Watch for those signs. And, uh, and other than the fact, it's really embarrassing. You know, it was so embarrassing when Bill did that and walked up and put his arm around me and told that customer, this is mine. You know, it embarrassed me. It was like, that's cute, but it's kind of embarrassing because the guy's just a customer. So be careful in life, and if you run across something like that, I'm telling you, you never know how the world will turn. You don't know if they're going to kill you. You don't know if they're going to beat the crap out of you. You don't know if they're going to keep beating the crap out of you. I remember Franklin. Hey, Betty, what's going on? I remember, here's one other. My husband, Franklin, he hated when my phone rang. And my phone always rang for money. I had a lot of customers, a lot of people that I dressed. And I let people call me 24 hours if they had money. I made really good money dressing people. And, I would get calls, like I would get a call from Doc Hillman, and he'd have a bunch of guests at the house that he was getting ready to take to Vegas in the limo or whatever. And he'd call me and he'd say, Red, can you come over and dress my friends? That way they didn't have to go out shopping, So I would go immediately. I'd say, yeah, Doc, I'm on my way, or I'll be there at this time or whatever. And my husband got the evil eye as soon as he knew that Doc was calling, or anybody else. My other friend's husband, Charlie, would call me to say hello, and they were going to the lake or whatever, wanted to know if I was going to come up or something. And oh my God, Franklin would just go nuts. But yet his phone rang all the time, and it wasn't for business. And it'd be women on there and everything. He'd sit and talk while he's driving the car. And I would get ill. I would just get ill. And, but, I had to sit there and put up with it. And, but he was just unreal. He did not like me, talking to other people. And then he would tell me stuff like, people don't like you. And which wasn't true. And so they try to lower your mentality so that you think nobody likes you anymore. It's like they want you all to themselves. But this sucker was the biggest runner on the face of the earth. I'm going to tell you, my husband was a runner, and that's one reason why I divorced him. But I was with him a lot of years. But he would get stupid. I was at work one time, and I was talking to a guy that DJ'd at the club, a lot. And this guy was married to a friend of mine. And very nice looking guy, not my kind of guy, but kind of lumberjack, 7 foot tall dude. Really nice guy. And he was just too funny to talk to. Great personality. And he was at one of the back tables, and I was walking over towards the back door. And he's like, hey, Red. And we were talking, and boy, here come Franklin. Came right up behind me, and he started leaning on the table, and he's just looking. And he was just doing that to be a jerk. I mean, we both could tell it, And my friend Alan. And later, Alan and I talked, and he said, "Boy, old Franklin, he's sure possessive." And I'm like, "Huh?" And he said, "Yeah, it was like when I was talking to you, you know, uh, he sure was upset about it, just standing there." I'm like, "Well, too bad. I have friends too. I did nothing wrong talking to you." I mean, Alan wasn't like putting his arms around me or anything like that. Most people did. Everybody always hugs Red. They love Red. So, but I mean, we were just talking across a really big round table. And you stood up at these tables, or you had a really tall bar stool to be at them. So, but it was really sad. But let me see who's on here. We got any questions or anything? Never Fun, the guy I told you about who went fishing and the thing had to deal with him before. Oh, I think my signal's floating. I can't get the rest of it. Let's see if we can get it. So hard to get it up so I can see the comments. It does it when it like feels like it or something. Here it comes. And the thing had to deal with him before staying with us, like to fight women. You know what? A guy I used to date, and I just talked about this in a blog before, I almost had my face entirely cremated by a guy I used to date. But they say it was because he was on a lot of drugs back then. I don't know. And it was one of the scariest things that ever happened to me. Bill West saved my life. He was there when it happened. And everybody after that this guy dated always had black eyes and stuff. And when I was younger, there was girls that liked to be beat. There was girls that liked Hershey chocolate that poured on them. There's girls that like to do menage a trois and all kinds of weird stuff. And so there was just people that did all kinds of different stuff. There was gay people. There's, swingers. There's all kinds of different, I guess, so-called love. But the one with the beating thing doesn't work. I've known a lot of girls that took a beating all the time, even when they didn't deserve it, and wouldn't leave the guy because they said they loved him. And most of the times, it was too late when they finally left him. And a lot of those guys end up committing suicide. I noticed through my lifetime. That's really wild. That means their mentality is just not right. But, yeah, that beating thing is really bad. And this one particular guy, he would beat women so bad, it was beyond belief how bad he would beat them. And it was really sad. So, yeah, that's really scary when you're part of that or you're seeing that with one of your friends. It's super scary. Because it doesn't end up well. It doesn't. I'll tell you one. I had a friend of mine that was married to a guy, and they had a beautiful home and business and everything. And every time I would see her, she would have a black eye or bruises, and she was a little tiny little thing. Little bitty girl. Man, if she was 90 pounds, I just don't know. And absolutely beautiful. I wish I could think of the girl that was on the TV talk show that she looked just like her. She's absolutely beautiful. I think it was Courtney something or other. I can't think of that girl's name. And every time I'd see her, she'd have these marks or bruises, and she would call me, want to talk to me. And she was older than me. And I'd say, yeah, come on over, And she would just be in tears, and I'd see her with marks or bruises on her arms, or, black eye, she was just in pieces. Not the beautiful little flower type person. She was just messed up. And I said, Rhonda, why are you with this guy? You know, I said, one day he's going to hurt you, and he's going to really hurt you bad. Is that when you leave? When he starts breaking body parts? Or you're nearly dead? Or he kills you? I mean, there's something wrong. And they don't listen. It's like girls that I used to work with in the clubs, and, they'd get beat all the time if they didn't bring enough money home. Um, it was just ridiculous. And it's like, why do you need somebody like that? You make so much money, you don't need somebody like that waiting to beat you. Um, it's sad. And I guess there's some that really dig being beat. That one girl that used to come to me all the time that got beat by her husband like that. One day he went through. She had a little girl, and then she had a little boy, a baby boy. And the baby boy was in the crib, and one night this guy flipped out and took a hatchet and started swinging it through the house. And he swung on that baby's crib with that baby in it. Didn't kill the baby, but he was just in such a rage. He didn't, I guess, realize that baby was in that crib. And that's when that girl got so scared she decided it was time to go. It took that much. When he could have chopped her head off or could have killed that baby, who knows? Really scary, and I know them both very well. Is it worth it? No. It's not. You can't fix them. You can't save them any more than you could save an alcoholic or a drug head. They need professional help. And if you're a doctor and that's your specialty, great, I give it to you. At my experience with being in love and dealing with liquor or drug people, trying to straighten them out, clean them up, because they're a great person and we're so in love, it was 100% fail. Those people are dead today. I'm still here. So, and I always thought love will conquer all. Our love's so strong, I can fix him. He's a great person. No. No. When you're young, you have so much strength, so much power. You could just do anything. Jump off of tall buildings in a single bound. Run across a train and beat it. Nearly fly. And I'm going to tell you, you can't fix an alcoholic or a drug addict. That really needs to be professionally done. And sometimes that doesn't even work. Because if they're not willing to get better, they have to fix themselves. When they go get medical treatment, it's the medical doctor and it's them. They both have to try to make it work. If they're really not that willing, but they're doing the medical help, it's not going to work. It's going to be a total fail. So that's really hard to fix that. And I thought I could. I tried it a couple times in my life, and it didn't work. It failed. I wasted my breath, wasted my time, when I could have been with someone else so much better. And I thought I could fix it with love. Nope. Doesn't work. And they're dead today. I'm still living. Let me see what that last comment was here. If we can get it to come up. Do-do-do-do. Yeah, he doesn't deserve no kind of woman if he's going to be that way. Even yelled at the girl's daughter's son because they were crying. Wasn't old enough. Wasn't even old enough to talk. Yeah, it's scary, isn't it? You know, those kind of people are messed up. But the hardest part is getting that person away from them. And even if you do, they usually go back. Either because they're in pure fear because the guy says he's going to hunt them down and kill them. Because that's what they'll do. They'll terrorize you. So you got to leave no return address. You got to really get far away. You got to really have friends that you could trust. Or not tell them exactly where you're at because they'll tell him. He will hunt you down. And if you're with somebody else, you better pray they're with you 24 hours a day because that guy's coming back to get you. They're really sick until they get deterred. Heather's boyfriend, the guy that sat on the couch, said he's going to blow his own head off and all that crap. Guess what? In 3 months, he had a brand new girlfriend and was doing great. Didn't even think about Heather anymore. See how quick he was going to kill her or kill himself? The world has ended if she left. Yeah, it freaking changed in 3 months. Yep. So, that's scary relationships. And I feel so sorry for all the people I've known through the years that put up with that. And they're like, well, he only hits me because I did the wrong thing. Or, you know, he cares and he loves me. Didn't mean to. Or he was drunk or high. Or who just has a really bad temper. Forget all that. Life is too short. You don't need to be around anything like that. And to me, that's a worthless piece of caca. That is that insecure that they will fight to control you. That's not love. That's a mental illness. They're messed up themselves, and until they fix themselves, life will never get better. You know, like I say, you can't sleep with one eye open and one eye closed, and even then, anything can happen in a moment's notice. Just like that girl that the guy killed her and killed him, boom. When she decided to make a change in her life again. She decided she wasn't happy. And there was the door. It was all paid for. Ready to get on a plane. Thousands of dollars shipped to her in her bank account. Dead. That's pitiful. That's pitiful. It's like being a fish and can't even take a breath of air to go back down in the water. That is pitiful. So you have to be careful who you're with. And if you see those signs where they step up to the plate and they start going, this one's mine, for no reason. Especially at your work. Oh, hell no. Not cool. That person's got to go. You can find so much better. Like they say, there's a million fish in the sea. You know there really are. There are people of your opposing sex or your same sex or whatever it is you like. There's a million of them out there that are single and would love to be with you. That's right. There's people that'll pay you to be with them. Okay? There's those people too. But, there's real people that would really love you and love your company and like you for you. And love when you dress nice. And love when you wear your hair a certain way. And love you looking good and are proud that there was somebody like you because you look great. They're not going to freak out and make you start changing the way you dress so nobody will look. Change the way you look. And when you get fat, they don't care. They'll still keep you around because they're glad because nobody will look. No. Get away from it right away. It's a really, really, really bad sign. And it can end up very, very bad. It can end up in your death. Not just being physically damaged, but your death. And it's not worth it. Life is too short. You know, that's like a suicide run being with somebody like that. I promise you, it does not get better. They will not stop. It just gets worse. And those people you got to get away from. You know, when that one boyfriend that I had left, and every girl that he was with after that, and he was with lots, trust me. I mean, hundreds of women after me. Every one of them that I ever saw was beat to living crap. And one used to get beat all the time. It was like she liked it. It was like, oh, I guess she digs it, man. She's always whacked up, you know. And when you'd ask her, how come you got a black eye? She'd say, oh, I ran into a tree. And they say that because the guy threatens them. If you ever tell anybody, if you ever tell, you know, get away from it. Get away from it. That life is too short. You can be so happy. You know, like they say, what's that song? It's make an ugly woman your wife. You'll be happy the rest of your life. I mean, there's truth in that too. There's some great people out there. And there's somebody out there for you. There's lots of people out there for you. So if you're in a bad relationship like that, with somebody that's, you know, possessive, and you know, there's somebody else out there for you that's so much better. Don't waste your time. You know, time goes by, days, months, years, and you know, then you're thinking back when you were a teenager, and you're way beyond that, and you're going, wow, you know, when I was younger. That's how fast time flies. So don't waste time. Every day is so important. And every day is not worth having to cry. It isn't. That's not what every day is all about. You should live a happy, productive, money-making day every day of your life. You don't have to cry to get through life. And if, you know, there's ways to get away, but the best way to get away from it is go really far away. That's the truth. You do what you got to do, and watch who you talk to, and don't leave a forwarding address, and make a whole new stack of friends and go far away, because one way or another they're going to try to find you, and it could be real scary. So, you know, yeah, there's always somebody way better than that. And I mean, you don't have to have somebody right away. You know, if you don't look, the greatest people will come upon you. I learned that. I used to look for a particular kind of guy, you know, and all that stuff. And a couple of my selections turned out to be kind of crappy. So I thought, well, I think I'm going to let somebody look for me next time. And we'll see if they qualify. Because when I pick them out, you know, and chase them, it doesn't work out good. Not only to mention, he has a dog, and one day he went crazy attacking it from the living room. Oh, yeah. That's some scary stuff, right? Uh, yeah, those are scary, scary people. I mean, they're messed up, you know? Attacking from the living room all the way to the bathroom because it used the bathroom in the house, and he never took the time to train it. Yeah, those kind of people, they're just real flighty. And they flip over simple things. Here's a weird one of somebody real flighty. I had this babysitter for one of my kids one time. And the guy was real smooth talking, you know, calm talking, nice guy, worked all the time, wore glasses, real straight out looking, you know, kind of almost Poindexter geeky looking. And then his wife was country, you know, and she was adorable. And, you know, I had talked to him on occasion when I went to pick up my daughter and stuff. And I think my daughter was like 6, probably. trying to think back. And they seemed like really nice people. And let me tell you what, went over there one day, and the son, who was like, I don't know, he was probably like 12 to 15 years old, something like that, was tall and thin and clean cut and everything. And these were supposed to be like a real Christian family and all that. And this is in the South, okay? This is not in like California or something. This is in the southern states. And when I went to go pick up my little girl, the boy, the son, had a big like bandage across his nose. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought, well, he probably got, a wasp bite or bee bite or had surgery or something, you know. And somebody had told me that knew them. They said, they were talking about him, and they said, that guy is so bad that he took and got in an argument with a kid, and they were cutting the yard or something. And so the dad picked up a weed eater and put it across that boy's face and whacked his nose. Yeah. Now, I didn't take my daughter there anymore. I was done after that because I believe that story. It really scared me because these people were like friends and neighbors. That really scared me. Really, really scared me. And I felt really sorry for his wife. And I don't think I ever had anything to do with those people again, talked to them or anybody else that knew them. I might have moved after that. I think I moved to another state. But I was like, my kid's not staying over there. I'm done. You can't take risks with young kids because if you can't trust who they're with, because you're liable for anything that happens to them when they're at the sitter or whoever you leave them with, whether they're at school or on a field trip or, wherever. With a friend, you're liable till they're 18. So you've got to be really careful. So, any oddball signs, man, I was like running from any weirdo sitters or anything. That's a vlog we need to get into, is bad babysitters. But yeah, that's really scary. And this guy didn't look like that kind of guy in any way. Very soft-spoken, educated, clean-cut, kind of Poindexter geeky looking dude with glasses. They had a beautiful home, nice cars. His wife was adorable. She wasn't any beauty queen, but she was, country pretty. And oh my gosh, this guy must have had a hellacious temper. I mean, the guy was like 50, probably. He's older than me. And, I just, wow, people that fly off like that, especially quiet people, that's really shocking when people are real quiet, real smooth, and then you find out that they have the most fiery, wicked temper. A lot of times those are the ones that are the worst, is the ones that are real quiet and don't ever look like they'll get mad. Those can be very scary people. Versus a loudmouth that claims they're going to come out and whoop everybody's butt all day long. The one who doesn't talk about it is the scariest. So you have to be very careful about who you associate with or whatever. Even after that weed eater story, it was confirmed by several people that he had done that. And I don't know how they didn't put him in jail, or if they did or what. I left and went far away from there after that anyway. So, wasn't going to drive by and stop by the house and go, hey, how you doing? I was finished because I didn't want my children around, stuff like that. Yeah, the guy also, he is one of those types of people who think their caca doesn't stink. Yeah, arrogant. I think they call it arrogance. Um, yeah, people, I don't know where they get that. I think a lot of it is drugs or drinking that makes them get that, superpower. um, but then a lot of people don't require drugs or drinking to be that way. They're just mentally, that is the way they are. And it needs to be fixed. I mean, they're really dangerous, very volatile. It's sort of like lighting a match near barbecue fluid with it open. That can be really bad. Um, yeah. But I wished I would have realized when I was younger how important it was to not be around somebody possessive, because when I was young, I thought, oh, this guy just really loves me. How neat, but not neat, you know? Um, and that's not what it is. They're jacked up, man, and bad things can happen. I mean, I really learned from that girl who's older than me, in like her mid 20s, Rhonda, um, with the hatchet through the baby's room in the crib, and the baby was in the crib, and she like ran to grab that baby and get the other kid and get out of the house. Just gone, you know. I didn't know if she got her keys, pocketbook, car, anything. She just grabbed those kids and ran, and it was amazing. But he didn't kill that baby. Um, and it was drugs. It was drugs that happened. He was doing a lot of coke back then. He was dead in about a year after that, actually, from drugs. That's what killed him. But he didn't look like that kind of guy either. That was a healthy, weightlifting kind of good-looking dude. Um, but it's just scary. It's scary when people are wild like that. They just go completely ballistic. They see red. They don't realize what they're doing. You hear a lot of these murders and deaths and stuff when they interview them, and they go, well, I just don't remember what happened. It's sort of like they blacked out or something. Yeah. It's sort of like this Gabby and Brian thing. Whoa. Whoa. And I could tell from those videos, that last video when the sheriffs were there and everything, this girl was just destroyed. She was a nervous wreck. She was in tears. She looked like she'd been crying. She looked like she didn't get much sleep because her eyes are black. And I mean, she looked like she had bruises on her. And I mean, things were not good. Things were not good. And look, she's gone now. She's not coming back. And that girl was young and really pretty. It's such a shame. And maybe we'll never know the real story on all that. But just not good. It's not worth getting involved with caca like that. Another problem he has, drugs make him wild, and he will talk nonstop, and he will never stop. Yeah, I've known a lot of people like that, and they want you to sit there and listen to them, even if you're falling asleep. They do not want you to lose attention to them. They really strive for attention. And I guess that's part of the mental problem is these people are so insecure, they're just dying for attention. And no matter who it's from. And, you ever have them where they get mad if they think that you have blinked or you need to go to the loo all of a sudden, or you need to go? They get real mad because it's sort of like you're going to desert them, because eventually, to them, if they're on drugs, time is nothing. And you're not on drugs, and it's like going on, Eventually, you got to sleep or go home, or you have places to go, things to do, people see, Or you're in the middle of a grocery store and you're yip-yapping away and you're just trying to get going. It's like you're living in the aisle there because they're telling you all this stuff a million miles an hour. And they're so insecure, they're just striving for somebody to listen to them, to agree with them, to pay attention to them, because, they're thriving for somebody to say, hey, you're right and it's okay. And they know they're wrong. Drugs and liquor can do a lot of things. Liquor especially. I used to drink years ago. I wasn't a dirty drunk or anything like that. I always knew where I woke up the next day and all that kind of crap. But uh I got lax with things. It's like, oh, I'll pay the rent tomorrow. I'll do this later. And when it started affecting me financially and in business and stuff and my properties, because I would wait till later, I got out of it. I said, I just can't do this lax life. I need to just quit partying altogether. And learn how to not drink and pay attention to life, because it's not a rehearsal. It is all the way live every day. And I did so much better in it. The unfortunate thing was, and I still went to clubs and stuff and drank Coke. I didn't drink liquor, didn't do drugs. And I could still manage to go to a club, have a really great time without having to do anything. People go, hey, how about a shooter? And it's like, no, just Coke is great. And then you have to guard your drink, make sure nobody puts stuff in it, because they like to jack your stuff because they think it's funny and cute, because they want to see you get drunk and you're not drinking. The one time the guy and his other girlfriend, they were arguing over a DVD player. Oh, this is terrible. Yeah, simple things. It could be chocolate ice cream. You never know. They'll go cuckoo. But yeah, and my good party friends all of a sudden weren't my friends anymore. They said I was boring. They said that I wasn't, real anymore because I wouldn't drink. And it was sort of like I was out of the club or something. They didn't want to be my friend. And it's like, well, okay, sorry. I have to do what I have to do, because I just felt like I wasn't, being serious with my life and not paying attention to stuff, because it's creating financial things for me where I end up losing a whole house over being stupid like that, going, I'll take care of it later, I'll pay it later, I'll do this later. That was pitiful, So yeah. I'm gonna say I was no drunk, and I knew where I woke up the next day and who I woke up with or whatever, but I wasn't any hoe either, but and I wasn't out trying stuff out all day long like my friends were, who amazingly enough didn't die of AIDS. But I just decided I needed to get more serious with life, that, if I was, had any liquor in my body in 24 hours, it was just making me be too casual about stuff, So I wanted to get more serious and get a hold of my life. I mean, I didn't have to go to rehab or any crap like that. I did it all by myself. I just was like, I'm done. It's like quitting smoking. You just kind of go, I'm done. You have to want to do it, and you can get it done. But you have to want to do it. That's a fact. 100% a fact. Yep. So, it's sad when you see people go through that and they don't listen. You could talk to them, help them, give them money, give them a place, protect them, call the sheriffs for them, and it doesn't work. I had my friend Diana, which she's deceased, so I could say a lot. And years ago, we worked in the clubs together. She was like my big buddy. And she was an ex-biker chick and stuff like that. And she was really beautiful, naturally beautiful. Long brown hair, big rose red lips, and really big boobs naturally. I mean, amazingly big boobs. And she was funny as all of hell. Great teeth and everything else. And we used to hang out a lot outside of work. And I went to her house, she went to mine. I mean, we went clubbing together. We were all over the place. And one one day she called me and said to come by the house. Yeah, people he talked to him, but he wouldn't listen. Yeah. And so the worst of them is when they say they're sorry and they really weren't. That's the worst. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, and they do it again. Um, and it's really true. And so I went over to Diana's house. She lived. Boy, I'm trying to think exactly where she lived, down in Hawthorne, California. And she was renting a house down there. It was an okay house. And went over there, and she had dated the same guy for like 2 or 3 years, and he'd move in with her, he'd move out, but they dated for several years. And he was a cute guy. He had blonde curly hair and kind of short, and she just really thought he was cool. He had a motorcycle. And that day I went over there, as soon as I pulled up, in front of the house, I think I pulled up in her driveway, and his motorcycle was there by the door. And I think that's when I had my big Lincoln. And yeah, I had the big white Lincoln, and big Continental. So I took a lot of pride in his car. It's white on white. My boyfriend and I used to sell it back to each other all the time. And so I went up, and the door was open, but the screen was not. And there's like all this screaming and battling. And you can hear Diane screaming. And I think her boyfriend's name was Steve. I'm pretty sure that was his name. And you'd have thought after several years of being together they'd have got married, but I don't know, that never happened. It was probably a good thing. And she was screaming, he was screaming. Next thing you know, she slings the damn door open. She's running out there with a book of matches, and she kicks his Harley over in the driveway. Wham! Okay, so now I am backing my car out. I'm like, exit stage left. And I'm backing out to the street, and it's getting really scary. And then all of a sudden, she's standing over the bike, and she's trying to light matches to set this sucker on fire. And I think she was drunk, as a matter of fact. And this is in the afternoon. And she is trying to light match after match to set this Harley on fire right at the front door of the house. And, oh my gosh, I'm like, this sucker gonna blow up for the next 5 blocks when that gas ignites, right? Because when she kicked that motorcycle over, the gas was running out of it on the driveway. And it was like, oh, and in California, the houses are kind of right next to each other, too. And I couldn't be enough blocks away. Next thing you know, she decided she was going to call the police because he hit her. But that's probably because she probably clocked him like 3 times before that. And this is a little dude. And he was always real nice every time I saw him. He was a pussycat. And, but she had a really bad temper. And she's gorgeous, beautiful girl. And she's dead today because of liquor and all that crap. Liquor and the coke. Yeah, I just heard recently she passed away. And so she's trying to call the sheriffs on him. And she had a corded phone where, had the telephone cord to the wall. And she dragged that phone out, into the drive there, and was like standing there screaming at 911, with him standing there, and he is just freaking out. because his bike is dented and the gas is all running out of it. I mean, this guy couldn't even have left if he wanted to unless he left the bike there. And she'd have set it on fire, for sure. It had been in flames blowing up for the next 3 blocks. I don't know. I don't know how far gasoline will blow up. But, so I'm like getting ready to leave. And next thing you know, here comes sheriffs, police. Now we got a helicopter. Next thing you know, we got a SWAT team. I mean, you know, and it just was unreal. It was unreal. I think she told him that he pulled a gun on her. I don't know, because everybody had guns in the house back in the day. And especially in that neighborhood. And so, you know, Hawthorne, Inglewood, and Crenshaw, and La Cienega, Torrance. Some of those areas would get a little spicy, so you definitely wouldn't have a gun in your house or in your car or whatever. So anyway, and those areas are really bad today. Really bad. So, anyway, you know, so we have like the SWAT team, we have, you know, helicopters, miles of cops. Now I can't even leave. I can't get my big car the heck out of there. And it's like, I want to be invisible. I hope they don't ask me any questions because I don't know nothing. You know, like Schultze in that show. I know nothing. You know. Don't know. Was just passing by. My car must have died right here. I don't know. Don't know those people. Don't know nothing. Because remember, I had backed my car out of the driveway and parked it on the street by the house. So, but I didn't leave in time. I stayed entirely too long because I was freaking out like, oh my God. You know, what do I do? Do I try to get these people to stop? I'm just watching this stuff in shock because I've never seen stuff like that in real life, okay? It was really freaky. And I was underage there, too. Diana was older than me. And, but she was like in her 20s. And I was underage. And, so, but I had fake ID. And so, anyway, so the police are there and everything, and she's screaming out there, bah, bah, bah. He hit me. He has a gun, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, here's this Harley still laying there with the fuel running out of it. You know, they got a fire department over there, and the whole street's locked up. There's no way I can get out. I'm just, like, stuck there. And thank God the police didn't ask me what was going on, because I did not want to comment. And so, and these things really happened to me in my life. There's some weird things that happened in my life. It was like that song, I'm at the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, can't even help it. And so, anyway, you know, she is mad as hell, screaming and cussing, and he's real calm because the police are there. And, you know, they take him and separate them both. They're talking to him, they're talking to her. Next thing you know, they're handcuffing him, walking him to the police car out in the street, and they're loading him into the police car, shutting the door, and here she comes running from the front door of her house like a bat out of hell, and she is screaming, oh no, don't take him away. And I'm like, you know what, this is some really stupid stuff, you know? And now there's this big dramatic show with him in a police car. He had been handcuffed, the whole thing, put in the police car in front of the house, and she is out there carrying on. And it's like, are you kidding me? Really? Are you kidding me? What in the hell? You know? And she's begging the police, oh, please, oh, like some out of a movie. On her knees and your hands clawing the window and the door of the police car. Please don't take him away. Oh my God. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, really? Is this real? Is this all the way live or is this memories? I mean, I couldn't believe 2 people will carry on so much. And I mean, we had the SWAT team. We had helicopters. We had cops. We had sheriffs. We had the fire department. Yeah, and I mean, not to mention all the neighbors in that fairly nice neighborhood. I mean, that was like the total circus, and I'm like there trying to be invisible. hoping nobody asked me a question. I cannot leave, you know, and I'm like, no. It was like watching a bad movie for about an hour. I mean, this was a big ordeal. It took forever. And it was just unreal. I mean, it was just absolutely unreal. And, of course, the next thing is to try to go bail Steve out with her big money because she made big money. And, and, and to go try to bail him out, and bring him home, get him out of jail. Oh, God. I'd be scared of that myself if I did that to somebody and they wanted to kill me when they got out. Oops, sorry, but I paid your way out. The sucker would kill you in your sleep. I mean, man, it's like reap what you sow. You be careful because you might reap what you sow. Murphy's Law, anything that can happen will. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've known a lot of very unpredictable people in my life, and especially in California. You don't jack with people. That's a very serious mistake. Very serious mistake. It's going to come back to get you one way or another, or they will. But, yeah. I mean, and that was a result of drinking, I mean, Diana was so smoking drunk in the middle of the day. God. Some of the crazy stuff I've seen. People are a trip. They sure are. So, alrighty. It was fun. Take care. Wild stories. Love. Yeah. Yeah. Wild stories. I'll tell you a good bazillion of them. I mean, people always say, you should write a book. And it's like, I wouldn't want to even see that movie. Been there, done that. Yeah. But, some of the stuff I've seen or done, I'll tell you, it's just amazing. Truly amazing. But anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. It's been a slice of heaven. Okay. And I will see you again. Do something kind for a stranger. Love everybody. Too much of a good thing is wonderful. We'll take a whole ton of that. I love you guys. Have a great one. Thanks for hanging out with me today.